All right, with open hearts and open minds, we welcome another speaker, Andrea, an organizer with the Party for Socialism and Liberation.
So before I typically give speeches, I like to start off with a chant. So 3 times after me. We won't go back, we will fight back. We won't go back, we will fight back. We won't go back,
We will fight back.
we will fight back. All right, my name is Andrea and I'm an organizer with the Party for Socialism and Liberation. We believe that the struggle for reproductive rights is a class struggle. It is a struggle led largely by working class women, but benefits all working class people. These attacks on reproductive rights are not just an attack on reproductive rights. It will disproportionately affect poor and working class women of color. This is an attack on the working class as a whole. We face a crucial moment in which the struggle for reproductive justice must openly confront racism and poverty. Although the struggle for abortion and reproductive rights has often been presented and viewed as the issue for white women, manifestations of institutionalized racism and women's oppression expands the need for a reproductive justice movement that meets the needs and demand of working class Black women. Although Black women make only 13% of the women in the United States, they get 40% of the abortions. I was a teenage mother at 16, and I've also had an abortion. I've also struggled to find jobs that pay a living wage. I've struggled to find affordable daycare. I've struggled to find affordable and decent housing. I've struggled with so much things that should be guaranteed to every human being in our society. For most of my life, I didn't have a name for what I was struggling against. Now I do. I've been struggling against not just sexism and patriarchy, but capitalism. Capitalism enables and gives powers to sexism, so it can divide the working class and keep women in the LGBTQ+ community beat down and easy exploitable. The fight for reproductive rights is the tip of the iceberg. This is the fight for our lives. Although Cuba is a socialist country living under genocidal and unjust blockade, they are able to provide their women with reproductive health care that we are still fighting for to this day, to this very moment. In Cuba, mothers get 18 weeks full pay of maternity leave and an additional 40 weeks at 60% pay that not just the mothers can take, but the fathers. In the United States, guess how many days of maternity leave we are guaranteed? 0. Exactly, none. Shame. During pregnancy, women receive frequent home visits by their neighborhood doctor, cost-free. The United States spends more money on healthcare per person, but has a lower life expectancy and a higher infant mortality rate. And that is because of capitalism. The money that is pumped into this quote-unquote healthcare system mainly goes into big pharmaceuticals and corporations that seek to make money off of every single drug, procedure, and medical treatment. And when you have society centered on making profits and super profits, thinking about the well-being of people is secondary at best. Right. So what kind of society do we want to live in? A society where people are put above profits, or a society where everything we do is determined by the ability to make money? This is not just about reproductive rights, but it has brought us all here together today. The SB 8 bill has called for vigilantes to seek out, even hunt down people who are providing or receiving abortion services. The bill incentivizes sexist and patriarchal behavior by offering $10,000 bounty to these snitches. In effect, criminalizing millions who seek to control their own body and their lives. This bill encourages and empowers misogynists. Already, we have been seeing people trying to get their $10,000 bounty for snitching on people who want to have abortions. And as we know, reproductive rights and organizations have been under attack for decades. This fight is nothing new. We need to tie the fight for reproductive rights to housing, wages, healthcare, and war. During this pandemic, the government offered a measly $1,200 stimulus checks, but is going to allow bounty hunting for abortions to the tune of $10,000? People are worse off economically now than any time in the United States history. We should be offering $10,000 to anyone who decides to raise children in this crazy, unjust, racist-ass society. The Democratic Party currently has a majority in the House, in the Senate, as well as the White House. Yet all we are given are excuses after excuses about how they can't help us, how they won't fight, but they want us to vote for them every few years. And we need to vote with our feet and march, speak out, sit in and do whatever it takes to defend our class and the right to free legal abortion on demand, with no apologies. We demand the Democrats end the abortion debate and legalize abortion in all 50 states. This is the only way to stop state-by-state tactics aimed to completely gut Roe versus Wade. And we need a militant national women's rights movement to demand the Democrats to stop treating women's rights as a debate or a bargaining chip for re-elections and to legalize abortions now. We demand to legalize abortions today, safe, accessible, and affordable reproductive care, from birth control to abortion on demand. Healthcare is a human right, full healthcare for all. Women of oppressed nationalities and classes have never allowed mainstream white feminist movements to determine our fate and co-opt the struggle for women's equality. Women and socialists like Ella Baker, Claudia Jones, Angela Davis, and so many more have rejected the narrow feminism and instead engaged and struggled around a variety of issues that largely affected them and the material conditions of working class women, rather than struggle within the confines of reproductive rights movements limited by racist and anti-worker views. Black and indigenous women spoke out, wrote their own demands, mobilized in many communities, and fought for reproductive justice. Women in the United States are fighting against a system that is moving in the opposite direction of our liberation. We can imagine radically different frontiers of what we can accomplish when we own our own government, when our own government isn't fighting at us at every turn. To break out of this oppression, we must break free of the capitalist system, which is designed to maintain inequality. We must fight for socialism. Only socialism can liberate women. Thank you.